For most of my time as a creator over the last decade, I felt like I've been on a roller coaster. And while that roller coaster has been exciting and exhilarating at times, it's also been really miserable and exhausting a lot of the time. And from that, I've come to realize that most of that suffering came needlessly from my own ego or assumptions that I made about the process. My lack of fulfillment wasn't really about what I wasn't doing right. It was about what I just kept doing wrong. I kept repeating the same mistakes, and those mistakes created a form of tax on me, like a debt that I had to pay the price for. And so I've learned to keep track now of my mistakes, to write them down, and to take notice of them more often so that I can try to remove the really costly ones. And they do get costly. So the spirit of this video is from a quote that I love from J. Cole related to his goal as a father. He said, "My goal is to teach my kids the things that I learned, but in half the time it took me to learn them." And so that's exactly what I want to do in this video. And my cat's probably going to jump up here and join us at some point. But if you're stuck in that cycle where you're starting strong, you're abandoning things when it gets hard, beating yourself up about it, this video might save you years of pain. I mean, I wish someone would have told me these things. These aren't the cute, look, there she is. These aren't the cute, humble brags or terrible mistakes that people make. She's just she's needy. This is the stuff that made me believe that I wasn't cut out for this process at all, right? And I've been seeking that feeling of making it as a creator for over a decade. And there've been moments that I've felt it and many times that I haven't. I've done rewarding things, I've achieved a lot of my wildest dreams, but I've also made a lot of mistakes and I've failed at a lot of businesses. And maybe more than most people start. Right, I've had stress-induced amnesia. I've worked 40 hours a week on my business without having anything to show for it. I've juggled 10 to 15 clients at once, worked 9 to 5 in television, worked as a consultant, sold digital products. I've tried every way someone can be a professional creator. And in that time, I've paid a lot of dumb tax. These mistakes have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars in opportunity that I'm aware of. And it's probably infinitely more that I'm not. But thankfully, since the world rewards persistence, I've managed to keep going and recover. So these aren't just mistakes that I've made. These are the patterns that kept me scattered and miserable for years. And more importantly, this is my little parrot on my shoulder. This is how she I don't get it. But these are the patterns that I see in most of the creators that I meet. And the good news is you can learn from these expensive mistakes without paying for them on your own, without incurring that same debt. So me and Myra are going to get you started with number one. And the first is, I thought there was a right way to build a business. I was obsessed with following the rules, the perfect posting schedule, the exact number of emails per week, the proven business model that everyone else was using. But the problem was that by playing other people's rules, you end up building someone else's business, not yours. See, Myra, she does not even she's not obeying by the rules. I can't even record my video and do a normal recording without her jumping up here, right? So I have to build my business like that. If you end up building someone else's business, it's not going to be yours. I used to try and copy exactly what everyone else was doing and would just hope that that would work for me. But I learned that most rules are just other people's insecurities disguised as wisdom. It makes success into some playbook when it's really about experimenting until you find what works for your specific brain, your situation, and your mission, right? So now I try to treat business like an experiment, not a religion. I'm not going to stop recording the video just because my cat jumped up here. Maybe it'll be a more fun video. So I test, I measure things. And if it doesn't work for me, then I don't force it. I find what does and I double down on that. So all that to say, there are no real rules. They're really only experiments and results. So mistake number two is that I really believed that I needed to have the perfect product before customers would come. And this sounds crazy to me now, right? Like I spent 18 months thinking like every feature needs to be designed like this with intention, everything thought of, every possible objection addressed. Like, and when it launched to the beta, I still had countless bugs. I had to completely overhaul the course based on customer feedback and remove half of the features that I added in that people didn't want. What I thought they wanted was wrong because I thought I would figure it out without their feedback. I thought I could get it perfect and then people would show up. Instead, now I've embraced talking to my customers about the product to help it evolve. So I've kind of built a new rule where if I'm not a little embarrassed by the first version, then I waited too long to ship it. Like I waited too long to put the product out there. So mistake number 3, I sought validation instead of solving problems, right? And maybe we all do this. Like I was a digital drug addict, but instead of drugs, I was hooked on views and money. Every post I made was designed to try and match the algorithm and the conversion so perfectly that it removed every ounce of creativity and enthusiasm that I had. Every piece of content was basically me screaming like, algorithm, please give me a shortcut and just make me rich already, right? And like, that's not very fun. The problem with validation and outcome seeking like that is it makes you a slave to an outcome or to other people's opinions. You stop creating what you believe in. You start creating what you think will get applause or attention or rank or convert really well. And not to say that there aren't a place for those things. It's just, I realized that I was building a house of cards, really, that was made entirely of outcomes and other people's approvals. And one bad earning week or a negative comment or an objection could like ruin my week and make me just like, spiral. So I started to focus on one question. I just started to ask like, does this actually help someone? And suddenly that work, those efforts, they became more about service instead of ego. So that's a big one for me. But number 4, I said yes to everything, which meant I was excellent at nothing. Like someone wants me to write for their blog. Yes. Someone wants me to join their podcast. Yes. Someone wants me to be a client or consultant or whatever. Yeah, I'm in. One time someone wanted me to build a custom website for $200 and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm in. Like I was busier than my cat in the litter box. Like I was not making any real progress on anything that mattered. Alex told me once, like he said, shiny object syndrome has killed more dreams than a shitty guidance counselor. And come on, I mean, it's so true. I was working 16-hour days. I was still behind on everything. I had become the world's most like overworked underachiever. I learned like every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that could change your life. So now I'll just have a simple rule. I think I got this from Matthew McConaughey, maybe. It's if it's not a hell yeah, it's a no. And the word, also like a little bonus to this that I'll add on is the word no can be a complete sentence. Like you don't need to justify no. You can just say no. So the next one, I think we're on like 6, 5, being the most, I confused myself with thinking that movement was progress. I'd research for hours instead of actually creating anything. I had 12 different productivity apps because surely the 12th app would be the magic solution, right? But the real kind of truth bomb of it was that motion feels like progress, but it's not. It's really just an expensive and convincing distraction. I remember when I first started tracking my time, I tracked my time for a week, and on one of the days I discovered I had already worked 6 hours a day preparing to be productive, and 20 minutes of it actually produced anything valuable. Like, that is a horrible ratio. And so I started to ask, like, when I was going to start something, I would say, like, does this directly move me toward my goal? Or am I just avoiding the hard work? Is there just something that I don't feel like doing? And 90% of what I thought was necessary was just like elaborate, impressive procrastination, And there's no shame in that. You just have to learn, right? So number 6, I built outcomes. I built for outcomes instead of identity. And this kind of ties into what I said earlier, but I just had this mindset that was like, when I make 50,000 or 100,000 or figures, I'll feel like I've made it and I won't feel like an imposter anymore. But external outcomes don't fix internal problems. Like once I hit those numbers, I still felt like a fraud. Like nothing really changed. So I didn't see myself as someone who finished things or as someone who enjoyed the process. So no matter what system I tried, I'd find a way to sabotage it because finishing something would mean admitting that I was capable all the times that I didn't step up in the past. And that felt really scary to believe. So I had to change my identity, not just for outcomes, but to enjoy the process. I had to become the kind of person who finishes things before I could actually finish things. Identity drives your behavior, not the other way around. And so for me, that meant instead of saying I want to be successful, I want to make $1 million, I started more simply. I just said, I am already someone who does important work that matters to me. And that different identity created different actions, which gave me different results. So that's a good one for me. Number 7, I ignored my body. I thought I could outwork my limitations. Sleep is for the weak. Food is fuel. Exercise is optional. Like hedonist roller coaster of just adrenal fatigue, weight gain, stress-induced memory problems. Like I was sabotaging myself. My body was sending me invoices, overdue bills, late payments, warnings. My body and mind incurred so much debt that I could not afford to pay while I was trying to build my businesses. Like, I remember I literally forgot some of the work that I had finished previously, and I ended up redoing it because it was just so fried from chronic stress and poor health that I just missed it. And so I had to learn, like, your body isn't a machine. It's the vehicle for everything that you want to accomplish. And when that vehicle breaks down, the journey stops. So I'm facing that reality even now as I'm trying to get back in the gym and I'm starting to sleep better and starting new routines focused around filming more and doing other things in the business besides just like building the product. So my non-negotiables now have become sleep, movement, good energy, and actual food. Those things don't come from a drive-through or a quick fix. And it's boring. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. But it's necessary. It's necessary for not having a complete mental breakdown, like 100%. And I wish I would have known that sooner. So mistake number 8. I thought consistency was really about trying harder. Like I just thought like, man, I need more discipline. I just need to want it more. I was trying to like muscle my way through these problems that didn't require Herculean effort. They required systems. So I was in this cycle, right? It was like, get motivated, work really hard for 3 days, 14 hours, 15 hours, burn out. Then I'd feel guilty for 3 days for not showing up. I'd spiral, I'd get motivated again, and then just repeat until I die. But Atomic Habits really got me with this of like, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. Willpower depletes throughout the day. It's effortful. It's fragile. But systems are different. Systems work even when you don't feel motivated. They turn difficult behaviors into the automatic ones. Instead of relying on willpower to write every day, I built a system where writing became automatic, like brushing my teeth. It became fun. So I stopped trying to be more disciplined and really stopped bullying myself for not being more disciplined. And I started building better systems that created an identity that made me show up better. Right? I made a system that runs my life instead of me trying to run my life with just pure willpower and focus. And most of the time you don't need more discipline. You just need better systems that allow you to become the type of person that does the things you want to do. And which kind of brings me to number 9. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I let fear make me silent. I avoided publishing because what if people hated it? I avoided asking for the sale because what if people said no? And I avoided putting myself out there because there was just this fear of failure. And the funniest part of all is like that fear of failure guaranteed my failure. Like you can't succeed at something that you never try. And that's probably cost me more money than anything in my life. I had folders full of almost ready content. I've had ideas that could have helped people, but they stayed locked in my head because they weren't perfect yet. I wasn't ready to be rejected for them. And the people who reject you, they weren't for you anyways. They weren't the right people to work with anyways. The people who need what you have, they're waiting for you to be brave. They're waiting for you to get out there and be courageous enough to share it. So now I do that, right? Like I publish the video, even if I don't edit it, even if I don't do it perfect or I don't love exactly the way it went, because helping one person is so much better than helping no one. Which brings me to number 10. I forgot that this was supposed to be fun. And maybe we all do, right? Somewhere along the way, I turned this creativity into a joyless grind. I stripped away every playful, experimental thing because I thought this is serious business. Like I'm supposed to be miserable and I'm supposed to grind. And I just started hating the work that I used to love. I dreaded opening my laptop. I was basically paying myself to be miserable, which that's a terrible business model. Like that's not, look, she even popped her head up. She knew like, that's not a good business model. Every time I burned out, it was because I did this to me. I made my work feel like a punishment. Every time I got to the point that I was thriving, it's because I started having fun again. I stopped taking this so seriously because if you don't enjoy the journey, you're going to quit before you reach the destination. Like fun isn't frivolous. It's fuel. It creates anticipation and excitement. And I've started building fun into the work that I'm doing. Experiments instead of obligations, like following curiosity instead of what's certain, what's going to work out to the algorithm, right? It's more about play instead of perfection. You know, there's something about all of these mistakes. They all came from the same place. Just not trusting myself. Not trusting that I was capable or valuable or worthy of success or that I need to follow some script instead of just trusting myself. I was so afraid of being found out as a fraud and, you know, people aren't going to think what I want them to think of me. Like I sabotaged myself before anyone else could. You know, most creator struggles aren't about tactics or strategies. They're about identity, self-worth. You can have the best business plan in the world, but if you don't believe that it deserves to be out there, like you're going to find creative ways to avoid it, I promise you. And maybe even if you do believe it needs to be out there, you'll still find ways to stop yourself. So, you know, maybe take a note from me. Start documenting the failures and the breakthroughs and the embarrassing moments. Like writing became my way of processing, understanding, and ultimately healing from all these patterns that were keeping me stuck. And as a plus, that writing has become the foundation of my content and the products that I create, and it gives me a place to start from every day. So if I could tell you to steal one thing from my mistakes, I would say your struggles aren't character flaws. They're data. Every failure, every pattern, every repeated mistake is information about what's not working. But you have to pay attention to collect that data. Like you can't just let the days go by. You have to start documenting your journey. Write down what's not working. Write down what is working. Write down what drains you, what energizes you. Write down what you're feeling, what you're learning, what you're discovering about yourself and in the work that you're doing. So to do that, you have to document the journey. Become familiar with your life. The person you become by solving these problems is the person that others are going to need help from. Plain and simple. You know, it's going to inform where you go from here. So I hope that helps. Like, I really hope that helps you stop making the same mistakes on repeat. Because like, gosh, like I know that I struggled for so long, and I wish someone would just say like, hey, wake up. Stop making the same mistake. So I'm going to do that for you and just say, look at your life. Look at what you've been doing and ask yourself, where am I not learning? Where am I repeating the same things? And then take your time and address them. Don't be mean to yourself. Don't be a hater. Just take care of business. It's okay. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Figure it out, take care of it, and get back to having fun. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching, and I really do hope you learned some things from this.